So we're in Acts chapter 10, and I want to talk about something today that I don't think I've ever expressed exactly as I'm going to try to say it today. And it's, I'm making myself vulnerable by doing this, by having a YouTube channel to start with. But I want to start showing my perspective of the book of Acts and kind of what I see happening with the story of how Christ unfolds through the apostles in the book of Acts and what's happening there. There's something happening. When I think of studies on the Bible that I've seen in the past, it seems like there's anything from just basic application, be good, be nice, don't smoke, chew, or drink or chew, or run around with those who do, just like basic application stuff. And then there's doctrinal stuff, and essentially people are they're employing their minds to develop post hoc rationalizations to bolster doctrines that they already believe. And I kind of want to back away from that. Instead of looking at, we are going to look at each individual verse. We don't have a problem with that. But instead of trying to parse out, we treat the Bible too often as if the writers were intending to provide an input to a systematic theology. Like everything they're saying, they're intending to be some kind of believed dogma that fits into some kind of system somewhere. And the more I study the Bible, the less I think that that's what's happening at all. And the more we need to step back and try to see what the author's saying. Try to see, and that, when I say author, I'm talking about the human author and the divine author. Try to see what's trying to be said and stop treating everything in the Bible like it is a precursor, like it's an input to be put into some kind of systematic theology. And people get all these detailed arguments about exactly what word was used here and there, and as if they're trying to write some kind of policy rather than communicate something that's bigger, much bigger, much more impacting, and much more important. As I talk, I ask you to exercise Rule Omega. And if you don't know what Rule Omega is, that is, try to give me the benefit of the doubt. Try to hear what's trying to be said, despite the frailty with which I say it. All right? Assume that I cannot well articulate that which is trying to be said. There's something that's trying to get through here, and I'm trying to be the conduit for that, and I don't think I'm doing a very good job. I want you to listen for that. There's two things I want you to not do. As I'm talking, I'm going to say some things that may sound alarming to some people. As you hear those things, do not try to map me to something that you know is false. Well, that sounds like fill in the blank. That sounds like the New Age movement. That sounds like David Koresh. That sounds like Catholicism. Don't do that, okay? That sounds like the emerging church. Don't try to map me something to... Don't try to map me to something for which you already have a counter-narrative formula. Okay? Formulaic counter-narrative. Then you're not using discernment, you're just using judgment. And we're trying to do thinking, not simulated thinking. So if you're doing that, you're doing simulated thinking. So that's not what I'm doing. The stuff that we get here, we're not following anybody other than trying to follow Jesus Christ. We're not following any school of thought from anywhere else. We're not on anybody's bandwagon. Nothing like that's going on. We're in complete open-ended explore mode. What does the Bible mean? On the other side, what I don't want you to do is I also don't want you to try to map what I'm saying to a predefined paradigm of doctrine that you think is correct. Like, how can I make this fit into my doctrine? Don't do that. I want you to have a liminal state of mind where something's happening that you don't have a paradigm to immediately answer, and you just think about this. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to share with you something that I see, something that I perceive. I see it like like in space. Like I have a three-dimensional model that's in my head of what's happening here, and it's over space and time, like a four-dimensional model. I see this thing, and I have a difficult time conveying it to people who are either against the Bible or so ensconced in doctrine that they think is the Bible that they can't hear what I'm saying. So there's a very narrow group of people probably going to be able to hear what I'm trying to say. And I'm talking to you. And if you can hear what I'm trying to say, I think this could really change some things in your life, in our lives, and in Christianity, and in the United States and in the world. Things can really change.